Hello guys, today we're gonna go through some common mistakes you do in the early game as a free-to-play. And I went to one of my older accounts just to show you guys what I'm talking about. So one thing we can start about and talk about is hero focus. And sure, you can upgrade them once you have the resources, but sometimes I see a lot of people just going in and upgrading the hero focus as soon as they can on every hero. So then when they actually come to upgrading the exclusive weapon, let's actually go and check here. So then when it comes to actually upgrading the exclusive weapon, when you finally get to Mythic Plus on that first hero, you don't have enough title essence to upgrade them. And this is a common mistake I've seen a couple of times actually, or heard about, when people just upgrading everyone's hero focus in the beginning. And that's something you need to take into consideration when you're actually leveling up your heroes. Making sure you're at least saving up. I think it's like 150 title essence. So you can upgrade those heroes you really need to. Because otherwise that hero you've been focusing on and really want to get up, they will get kind of left behind and you don't get the full potential. That's one of the early mistakes I've seen a couple of times. So, say even if I went for a really good wish list. So, when you're starting out, it will look something like this. So, it will actually look something like this. So, even in the beginning, when you're getting a lot of copies in the early game, and you're starting to spam upgrade them, let's say you get several heroes at the same time to Legendary Plus, and even if they're really good, there are very few of them you should actually focus on in the beginning. In the sense, when it comes to hero focus. Because you need that title essence to upgrade exclusive weapon. So, focusing on everyone's hero focus isn't that great. And I would recommend you actually start hoarding title. And then upgrade them as you go. And if you don't know the priority of heroes when it comes to exclusive weapon, then you can go to sites like Pridewin, and I will link that down in the comments because they actually have a tier list. I haven't done a tier list on my own yet because there's so many variables to a tier list when it comes to exclusive weapons, because it depends on if you're a whale or not and how hard you go in on every hero and so on. And if you're buying like temporal essence and stuff from the shop, and if you're really huge whale, even buying it from the Emporium by the wait, where are they? Oh yeah, they're in the guild store, but I can't see it now because I'm not in a guild. Depending on how much of a whale you are, like look at this. Some people even go for these ones in the beginning to boost them, depending on how much diamonds you're getting and so on. And I wouldn't recommend that as a free-to-play, because you need the diamonds to buy all of this stuff, and in the early game you need those summons as well. So just using diamonds to get those normal summons and using them in the wish list itself, just to get the hero copies you need.
You shall be purged.
So just summoning in here, you're gonna have very limited diamonds, so going into the Emporium and wasting them on title essence isn't that great. And you will get to the point, like just like this account, as you could see, actually have a lot of titles stacked up. So even if you might get a bit behind on title in the beginning of your account, that won't be a problem till later on. The problem is always temporal essence, so make sure you don't waste them as well. So that was one of the common mistakes I see, or have seen, during the time I've been creating content. And the next one, let's just equip here. Yeah, actually I don't have stuff to forge it. And one of the next big mistakes I see is people upgrading their weapons way too often. And sure, when you get to the late stage of an account, you have a lot of gold, so that won't be a problem. But when you're starting out, it can actually be problematic if you do this like during the entire start of the story and then in the season as well, because you're actually using Now I don't have any unlocked, but you're actually using gold to upgrade artifact as well. And I actually had this problem on one of my accounts, even though I didn't go all out on equipment and upgrading it very often. Because you can upgrade them like for every 20 resonance level, or for every 10 resonance level you can upgrade them one step. So be patient, both in the early game when you're starting out the game, and once you come into the season, you will actually level up really quickly. So upgrading them too often isn't good for you. And I would actually recommend you not to do it too much in the beginning, unless you have an established account with a lot of gold, then it's just kind of whatever. But if you could start doing upgrades every 10 levels and doing this like all across the board, you will drain your gold so quickly that you might not even be able to afford all the upgrading artifacts and so on, because that costs gold as well. So you need to be really careful about that. And if you're gonna upgrade equipment for anything, it all depends on the heroes you got. So if your Lily May is the biggest damage dealer, then sure, you can upgrade the weapon. Let's see. Basically the weapon and the third slot. I don't even know what that's supposed to be. Like an accessory. Those are the two I would upgrade, because here you get attack and crit, and here you also get attack and crit. Sure, you get some attack here as well, but it's not as valuable. And you also get crit from the boots as well, but I wouldn't upgrade them. So if you're looking for damage, I would upgrade the weapon and the accessory. And if you have someone else, maybe you're focusing on your Odie. It all depends if you're in the season or not, but if you're in the season and you want to look for some more damage on the Dream Run boss, for example, upgrade the weapon, upgrade the accessory. The rest doesn't matter too much, depending on how your account is built, but usually it's one of those things, like, even if you're dying in Dream Realm when you're starting out in the season or in the start story, that depends on your resonance level. The resonance level does way more than equipment does, so don't go around wasting your gold on this, because you also need it for so much else.
You shall be purged.
Another kind of big mistake I've seen from time to time is free-to-play players going in on rate up. And sure, if there's a really good hero, it isn't that bad. But when you're starting out, it can actually punish you, because you need A tiers as well. And as you know, the base rate of getting A tiers are really bad in rate up. If you compare that to the normal wishlist, it's actually a 17% difference. Actually a bit more even. So that's why it's really bad in the beginning to go into the rate up as well. But I've seen it happen so many times. And I think the only exception I would have for this rule would be if you started out when Lily May was in the rate up. Because she became so important that getting at least a few copies of her, at least getting her to like Mythic Plus, would be really good for your account. And there haven't been an exception like that since Lily May. Please go into the normal recruitment, because that way you will have way more access to A tiers and getting those heroes up as well. Because there's no difference in power when it comes to S levels and A levels. Lilith and Farlight have confirmed this themselves, that the only difference is it's two different ways to get heroes only. So that's why some is A level and some is S level. Or S tier and A tier, if you want to call it that. So in the beginning, make sure you go into all hero recruit. Unless there's a bonkers hero out at the time, you could go some in rate up, like I said. Like Mythic Plus and some heroes are really good as well.
Possibly stand against me.
And then we probably have one of the biggest mistakes I see is people just going in and building heroes way too quickly in the Stargaze and not having the patience. because you really need to save up the stellar crystals, especially as free to play, and or even as a spender. If you don't buy stellar crystals, you need to save up, because by the time you have saved up for an S Ascension or S Plus Ascension, there might have been a new hero release that's just better. Like, imagine if I don't really have a good example right now, because I think the biggest example of this I can compare is actually on this account, because it was a really early account and Scarlita was really popping off before we came into Song of Strife and Freyasto was released. There, I could just have been patient from the beginning and started saving up stellar crystals and then gotten Freyasto up even quicker. It's a mistake I've done as well. Just because the Celestial or Hyperion is really good this season, or was good one season, doesn't mean they're gonna be amazing in the next one. So that's also why you wanna save up stellar crystals and wait for people to really try them out and see how good they are. Now, Freyasto is like the only exception I've seen to this rule is Freyasto, but that's also one of those things where he was really good when he was released. We didn't know how good he would be the next season as well. So take that with a grain of salt and just make sure you can reach the required ascension on that hero before you go all in. I did that mistake and other people did that mistake as well, because Harak was really popping off. He's still really good, but if I just waited a bit longer, I would have gotten the twins up instead, which would have helped my account way more. So saving is the key to progress. Don't become a massive hoarder though, where you become paralyzed by not making any decisions, but hoarding to the point where you can guarantee yourself like an S plus ascension in Celestial or Hyperions is not a bad call. And the way you want to calculate that one is you always go to pity on stellar crystals almost. So calculate that by how many copies you need by summoning in here, and also of course by how much you have stored up in guild store. So combine the stellar crystals you have and how many copies you can buy in the guild store and you should be fine. So that's some of the common mistakes I've seen in the game, like the overcrafting of equipment, the overspending on hero focus before you saved up enough resources for core heroes to pop off and upgrading their exclusive weapon, and then all the mistakes in summoning.
With this sword,
Going
you
in
shall be
rate up
purged.
too early, not focusing on all recruits, and also not saving up enough stellar crystals to guarantee you getting that Celestial or Hyperion up, and being in the middle of building a hero when a new hero is released. And these are mistakes I've done myself as well, so don't feel bad if you've done these mistakes. Just know that in the future you can improve and make your account better by thinking about stuff like that. But as always, thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.